If you're wondering whether you eat emotionally, then you're not alone. Lots of people struggle with their relationship with food, wondering if they are eating for the right reasons. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what is and what isn't emotional eating, and some tips to cope so that you can learn to manage your emotional eating. I'm Lara, the food freedom psychologist, and I can help you create a healthy and happy relationship with food without guilt or stress eating. I hope you're getting so much value from my videos and enjoying the content. If you are, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so that you're notified every single time I post a new video. Side note here, if you are feeling out of control and overwhelmed around food, then do sign up to my Food Freedom Masterclass. It looks like this and the details are in the links below. In my signature program, Food Freedom Matters, I work with so many women who have struggled with emotional eating. They say things to me like, I have an emotional attachment to food. When I'm stressed, I just eat sugar. Emotions drive my eating. Food controls me. And in my program, they learn how to successfully manage emotional eating and cope with feelings without using food. We really have had so many incredible transformations with people completely changing their relationship to food and their body image. Now, before we dive in, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever felt like an emotional eater? If so, let me know in the comments below. So first up, what actually is emotional eating? Now, there's a really great definition from the Mayo Clinic, and they define it as eating in response to negative emotions. And the Mayo Clinic also outlines some really key differences between normal physical hunger and emotional hunger. Physical hunger is something that develops slowly. You feel hungry for a variety of different foods, and also when you start eating, you will feel fullness start to emerge the more you eat. On the other hand, emotional eating comes on really quickly. It feels really urgent, and often you're hungry for only one thing. And unfortunately for many, may lead to a binge. Some of the signs that you're emotionally eating when you're not physically hungry, eating to cope with emotions, or eating as a reward. And at the end of the day, we know that in life we are going to experience negative emotions from time to time, some more than others. We're going to experience anger, frustration, annoyance, sadness. And eating in response to these emotions may give you temporary relief. But as someone who's been an emotional eater in the past, I know very well that it doesn't actually solve the problem. So let me check in with you here. Does any of this resonate with you at all? If so, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so now that you know what emotional eating is, I'd like to give you some tips to help you cope. So number one is understanding that emotional eating isn't always a bad thing. This might actually surprise you because I think emotional eating is given a very bad reputation in diet culture. It always feels like a very bad thing to do. But we need to remember that eating is emotionally laden. We eat to celebrate, we bake to show love, we share intimacy over a meal out. Food can be love, it can be comfort, it can be a reward. So it's no wonder that sometimes we feel like there is an emotional attachment to food. The issue comes is when you're using food on a regular basis to numb or drown out your emotions, and if it's your only coping mechanisms when you feel those negative emotions. So I guess one of the things to do here is to change your mindset around emotional eating. So often people come to me saying, I am bad for emotional eating because emotional eating is a bad thing. So I recommend switching to more of a neutral observer. So you can say to yourself, I seem to be emotionally eating at the moment. What is this behavior trying to tell me? And by asking that question of yourself, it puts you in a better position to actually go ahead and cope with the emotional eating in a different way. The second thing you can do is try and identify your triggers. So ask yourself, what is causing me to eat in this emotional way? People eat emotionally for all sorts of different reasons, and everyone is different. It might be boredom that triggers it for you. It might be stress, anxiety, sadness, feeling out of control. But the thing is, if you just broke up with your partner and you decided to go ahead and eat some Ben and Jerry's, Sometimes that's needed, sometimes it's necessary, and that's okay. However, if the only way that you can deal with negative emotions is by running to the fridge, then I do really recommend that you start exploring your triggers. Like, does a stressful day at work lead you to eating a bag of cookies? Or do you get bored and then lie on the sofa munching through a bag of crisps? By taking that neutral observer perspective, it's much easier to identify what is actually leading to that behavior. Number 3 is finding different ways to cope with your emotions. At the end of the day, every person's life is filled with ups and downs, and it is genuinely okay to use food from time to time to cope with your emotions, so long as it's not your only coping strategy. However, if you find that the only way you can relieve yourself from boredom is by eating chocolate, then it might be time to find something else that's going to help you feel more nurtured. Perhaps you're getting really tired at the end of the day. Maybe you just need to go for a nap. Maybe you can share your feelings with a friend, or sometimes what I like to do is leave myself a voice note. So I feel like I'm unburdening my feelings, but I'm not actually sharing them with anyone. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, maybe texting a friend, going for a walk, journaling something in the diary. Sometimes I find writing a letter and then getting rid of it at the end of it. Those kinds of things to kind of process and feel your emotions. Final thing you can do, tip number 4, is to eat for not just nutrients, but also for satisfaction. I think there's a tendency to get very hung up on eating what you think is the quote, healthiest foods. And sometimes that means that all we're doing is focusing on getting the nutrients, but not really thinking about satisfaction. Satisfaction goes such a long way in your relationship with food. In fact, research actually shows that when you enjoy what you think is indulgent food, you actually create more of the fullness hormone, which makes you feel fuller. So along with this, fiber and protein can also help you feel that satiation as well. As always, I have added some resources and some links below for you to explore. And one book that I really recommend is a book called Just Eat It. And in this book, the author goes into real depth about emotional eating and what you can do about it. And if you want to find out more about food freedom, then sign up to my free Food Freedom Masterclass. It looks like this, and the details are in the links below. Check out these videos next for more food freedom, health, and mindset tips. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and share it with anyone who you think needs help with emotional eating. Bye for now.